Yo, what is up, y'all? My name is Devin, and today I'm going to be discussing 5 things that help fix my relationship with my body and with food and training and fitness and all of the things, okay? But before I get into that, if you are new here, new and not subscribed, go ahead and press that subscribe button down below to help my channel grow. We're shooting for 20K and you can make that happen. And if you are interested in one-on-one coaching, a custom meal plan, or a custom training plan, feel free to either email me or check out my website, which is going to be linked down below. On my website link, you can also find my high-protein cookbook, Healthy Doesn't Suck, as well as my training program, Mask Made Simple. Now, let's go ahead and get into the video. The first thing that helped my relationship with food more than anything and before anything was trying different styles of food, right? When I first began training, I was super locked in on eating like a bodybuilder. I lacked major micronutrients. I was just eating chicken, rice, and broccoli every single day, no matter what. And when I would get crazy with it, I would put Chick-fil-A sauce on top of everything like a goddamn salad dressing, right? And then I realized about 2 years ago that I didn't have to eat this boring ass food. I could eat protein French toast. I could make protein ice cream. You know, I could eat all these different styles of food that are macro friendly and still help me reach my goals. For the better part of 2023, I was lean for the entire year and I was just eating all this fun food that was healthy, that was micronutrient rich, that was macronutrient rich. But that's the first thing, that just eating food that was enjoyable and trying new things, right? That's where the genesis of my cookbook, not to plug myself, but that's where the genesis of my cookbook, Healthy Doesn't Suck, came from. Because once I started to play around with these different recipes and try new things, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I have these 3 ingredients that go well macronutrient wise. How can I make this into a delicious meal, right? You don't have to eat the most basic meals, because honestly, when you do eat the most basic meals, that's when you feel bored. That's when you feel restricted. That's when you show up to the office and it's ice cream Fridays and you're like, oh, I just have to have this ice cream, because you haven't had anything that tastes delectable in weeks or days. So of course your will and your discipline to stay the course, you know, even though you know that's not going to perfectly fit your macros, you're like, I don't care. I need this. I can't help it. And whenever we make those kinds of decisions to partake in fun food, we want it to be a conscious and intentional decision. I'm going to eat this food because I want to, because I think it will be great and I'm all good with that, is different than saying, oh my God, I just need it so bad. I just haven't had it in so long, right? We always want your decision making to be the former, not the latter. So have fun with your food. The next thing that helped my relationship with food and with my body and with what it means to be somebody who is in this very rigid routine and structure. Like, I do the same thing every day for months on end. I wake up, I go to the gym, I do client work, I edit, I create content, I eat the same meals, I do cardio, blah, 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 right? The number one thing that helps me stay disciplined and on that structure is allowing myself breaks. So I'll go on trips with my fiance. We'll go to all these different random places that are typically not outside of the country, because your boy hates flying and I don't like going places where I can't, you know, bring my meal prep or bring some sort of way to prepare food. So we always go to somewhere that's not too far away, right? But I'll get out of my routine. You know, I'll go train at a different gym. I'll train at a resort gym. I'll train at a hotel gym. It doesn't have to be the most amazing setup in the world. That's more so just about getting my body moving. And then I will still stick to my macros for the most part. Like I said, I'll bring meal prep. I have a big ass cooler bag. I'll bring a hot plate if I have to cook up some chicken, to cook up some tilapia. I'll do that for most of my meals. But then, for example, we'll go to dinner and I'll get something like maybe a steak, or I'll get like pad thai, or I'll get like some chicken wings, right? I'm just not drawn to it, right? When it comes to like pizza or fried chicken or like all of the most Americanized, let loose and just go ham foods, I don't really eat those. Even when I'm on vacation, I simply don't. But I still do have food that is restaurant created, that I'm not weighing everything out. So, you know, being outside of my routine, even though I still am, you know, disciplined, I'm still honestly for the most part locked in. It feels good to not be so caught up in the monotony of everything, right? And then also seeing new things is inspiring. It inspires me to make videos. It inspires me to make more content. It inspires me to honestly stay alive, because a lot of my mental health issues were kind of not erased whatsoever. God knows they're not erased, but kind of helped a little bit when I started to see new things, right? For most of my life, I was stuck in the same place. Getting out, going to different states, going to different places, connecting with different people honestly makes me feel like I'm okay. Even outside of the bodybuilding, even outside of fitness and nutrition, just seeing new things can just help you feel like your horizons are not so small. And I think that's like the key to being a healthy human, is knowing that the options are limitless and we truly do have free will. And that free will bit allows me to remember that I'm choosing to live like this. I'm choosing to, eat meal prep every day. I'm choosing to not eat pizza. I'm choosing to not drink soda. It's a choice that I'm making. And the fact that I do have that autonomy makes me feel more proud about my decision making. And therefore I stick to it a little bit better, or all the way better, 100% actually. The next thing that helps my relationship with food, my relationship with willpower and training and just staying the course, is looking back and seeing how far I've come. I really truly often get into my own head and I feel like I haven't made any progress. I often feel like I'm just spinning my wheels. I'm doing the same thing every day for what? I'm limiting myself for what? What is this all for? Why am I doing this to myself? Other people are doing less. And, I start to just really kind of piss in my own cereal, for lack of a better term. Looking back on my progress pictures, even from last year to this year, sometimes when I really need to dig deep and see that I've made progress, I'll look at my progress pictures from when I first started testosterone, or 4 years ago or 5 years ago, right? And then I see, okay, something is happening. I am in fact disciplining myself for a reason. It's working. I get a kind of an ego boost, a confidence boost, and I'm like, okay, bro, just stay locked in, keep doing this. It does serve a purpose. And when you know that you have a purpose, that will help you commit to your goals and commit to the actions that it requires to meet your goals 1000% better than if you feel like you're just floating in an abyss without any tangible progress, because then you just kind of feel like, what is the point of doing all of this? This sucks for no reason. I'm out of here. And then we kind of quit on our goals, which honestly, we should never quit on our goals. Even if it takes a little bit longer to get there, that's cool, but we should never just close that book and say it's the end of the chapter whatsoever. This next thing that helps me specifically when it comes to training is moving my body in a different setting, right? Obviously, I'm a bodybuilder. I do typically only do hypertrophy training, so like, squats, bench press, all those machine movements, push-ups, stuff like that. But every once in a while that can get monotonous, so I will go kayaking, or I'll go on a trail hike, or I'll go longboarding, or I'll play basketball. These kinds of things help me remember that I exist outside of the gym, that there's different ways to be mobile and different ways to be healthy, and to, help with your heart rate, help with your blood pressure, help with just moving your body and coming down and giving your central nervous system a break. That just makes me feel so much more connected to my body. I do feel connected to my body when I'm bodybuilding, but also sometimes like I'm going fucking hard in the paint. I'll be honest with you guys, when I'm in the gym training, obviously I know I'm not like a rocket scientist. I don't think I'm like in Game of Thrones going to war or anything like that, but it is truly taxing on my central nervous system. And anybody who trains really hard knows that your body needs a break afterwards. So a lot of us view training and going hard with the weights as like decompression, but I have to tell this to my clients all the time. Training is low-key not really decompression. Things that are adding to your central nervous system fatigue are not decompressing. They're just adding to your central nervous system fatigue, right? So I often have to push my clients and myself to get out and move your body in a way that is not specifically hypertrophy training. That's where like being in nature really becomes super helpful, or grounding yourself, right? Putting your feet in grass and like looking at birds helps you remember that you are a whole human. When I feel like I'm making a decision to do this and not stuck and confined to doing this, it makes me feel so much better about my duties, right? So moving my body outside of the gym makes me feel better about moving my body inside of the gym, because I know that it's a choice and I'm not like fucking beating myself over the head like, ugh, now I have to do this. It's like, no, bro, you get to do this, right? I will say that I know of people who have lost, for example, limbs, people who have lost their ability to, process literally protein, who cannot hold on to calories, who have gotten stomach worms, like parasites and stuff. Like, I know these people, okay? I never take for granted that my body can absorb food. I never take for granted that I can afford food. I never take for granted that I have 4 limbs. I never take for granted that I have a brain that has the cognitive ability to process information in the way of, everything that I'm doing every single day. So oftentimes we do get kind of caught up in thinking, oh man, I have to go to work, or I have to go to the gym, or I have to do this meal prep. And it's like, guys, also, I hate when people say first world problems, because it's like, yeah, your problems are 100% valid. If they suck, they fucking suck. There's no way around it. But if our biggest problem is that instead of grabbing Chick-fil-A, you have to make chicken and rice at home, those are not fucking significant problems. Like, not to be political, but there are fucking children burning alive in Palestine. So me going to the gym and working out, I'm not saving the universe. I don't need a pat on the back for that. I don't need people to tell me I'm so brave for whatever the case may be, right? This is fucking nothing. Like, me preparing for a bodybuilding show and choosing to eat less food while there are people, different countries, like the fucking Congo, who's like, their stomachs are inside out. They haven't eaten in fucking weeks, as much as a human body can go without eating, and me only eating, 1,800 calories per day because I'm choosing to compete in this show. Fuck, like, who cares? I don't care. Like, when all else fails to keep me in line and to keep me appreciative and to keep my relationship with this, upbeat and cheerful, like, yo, you fucking got this, I have to remember that, like, I exist, I'm able to do these things. And I'm not starving because I'm forced to fucking starve. I'm not starving because I don't have access to food, you know? My body isn't sore because I have a fucking job that I have to work to support my family. Like, my body is sore because I'm bodybuilding. So a lot of times we are a little bit sheltered. A lot of times we're a little bit bougie. We're a little bit privileged. You know, if we have a house, if we have food, if we have a car to go to the gym, or, you know, an e-bike or a scooter or whatever the case to go to the gym, if you have all of these things, I don't ever want to come across as someone who's like, just work harder, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, but also, you know, take into account the state of everything that we're going through. Take into account the state of other people's lives, right? And of course, you have to find a positive motivator. Never in my life have I tried to motivate a client by saying, oh, you didn't feel like going to the gym? Well, the kids in Palestine are burning. I've never said that to anyone because most people don't respond to that kind of language. I'm just sharing this with you guys here to maybe give an outside perspective that many people may not bring up, right? This is a privileged position, and we have to treat it as such. We cannot treat it like someone's forcing us to do it. Sometimes that positive, like, oh, I love to go to the gym, sometimes it wears off, and then you have to really look in the mirror and be like, is it really as hard as your brain is making it seem? And honestly, 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. Then just get your ass to the gym, right? That is the video, y'all. Sorry for getting a bit negative and deep towards the end. Maybe it didn't come across as negative, I don't know, but it truly does matter that we have positive relationships with everything we're doing with our body, everything we're doing with our food intake. And, you know, whenever you're making a decision, it should come from a place of, I'm lucky and I'm happy and I'm grateful to be able to do this, as opposed to, I have to do this. Because you don't have to. There's always that, but you get to. And I hope that you love to. That is a video, y'all. If you do want to stay up to date on my bodybuilding prep, I'm going to be competing in October and November. I'm posting weekly updates on my Instagram. It's at DVNSBRS, but that's also going to be linked down below. And like I always say, Devin loves you, Devin's a Don, and Devin is out of here, boy.